Hello everyone, Ariam here, and today we're talking about the king of dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus rex. Unfortunately, you will see that I forgot to hit record while I was coloring the mama T-Rex here and her babies. I recorded this drawing in the middle of finals week, and at that point I don't think I even understood how to read anymore, so we're kind of lucky any of it got recorded at all. But some footage did survive, so let's talk about the world's most famous dinosaur. Now, being such a popular dinosaur, a lot of people know a lot about the Tyrannosaurus rex already. So here's a quick recap before we get to some really interesting stuff. Tyrannosaurus rex was essentially the last tyrannosaurid, a group of bipedal theropod dinosaurs that were all carnivorous and all had very large heads with powerful bites but little teeny tiny arms. Now we have covered a dinosaur with little arms before, the Carnotaurus, and the difference here is that the Tyrannosaurus rex's arms were still capable somewhat of grasping, and it's suspected that these arms could have been used to lift up to several hundred pounds. However, currently it is believed that the main purpose of these small arms wasn't to lift, but was to help the T-Rex get back up from laying down and potentially to hold on to a partner during the mating process. Tyrannosaurus rex was found in North America during the late Cretaceous and witnessed the extinction event that ended the dinosaurs. Upper estimates of the Tyrannosaurus rex put them at around 40 feet long, 13 feet tall at the hip, and around 9 metric tons. This not only places the T-Rex at the apex predator role in its own environment, but places it as one of the largest carnivorous dinosaurs to ever exist. Its length is potentially rivaled by Spinosaurus, and its weight is potentially rivaled by Giganotosaurus, but without a doubt the T-Rex is one of the top 3 carnivorous dinosaurs, and it likely had the strongest bite of all carnivores on land known to history. Additionally, while there's little to no evidence that an adult T-Rex would have been fully feathered, it is suggested that T-Rex chicks may have been covered in a fuzzy down that they later molted off, which is why I gave these guys an adorable puffy coat. A lot of famous T-Rex remains also have names, which I think is delightful. The one I was introduced to as a child is Sue, and my drawing here is actually based on a newer model of Sue that is currently on display in a museum. So that's a pretty good basic introduction to the T-Rex, but I want to talk about something a little bit more interesting that maybe you might not have heard of: T-Rex STDs. And yes, you heard me right. Many of the facial remains from Tyrannosaurus that have been found had damage along the jaw that suggested some sort of festering infection that eventually dug into the bone. This damage was even found on Sue, the famous remains I mentioned earlier, which is why in this drawing you can see that she has active pustules on her face. Now, modern birds do have a parasite that can infect the host and dig into the bone, called Trichomonas, and it's believed that back in ancient times, dinosaurs had a similar parasite that evolved with them as they morphed into modern-day birds. For the most part, in T-Rex, these infections were regulated specifically to the head and the face. So why is that? Well, if this parasite were to spread in between T-Rexes, there's a couple obvious answers, such as combat and cannibalism, eating from an infected corpse. However, face biting between animals does not always occur for combative reasons. If you think of modern-day Tasmanian devils, who are currently at risk of extinction from a transmissible cancer that is spread through face biting, these Tasmanian devils bite each other on the face as a means of communication. It's very possible that this parasite was spread through combat, especially between two males. However, it's also possible that a male and a female would have bit each other on the face as a means of greeting or in a courtship display, hence spreading the infection to Sue and other tyrannosaurs. So, T-Rex STD might be a little bit clickbaity, but it's totally possible that part of the courtship display for these dinosaurs ended up spreading infections. And given the state of Sue's jaw in her found remains, it's possible that this infection deteriorated her bone density in her jaw so much so that instead of dying in combat, Sue actually starved to death. The king of the dinosaurs brought down by a microscopic parasite. Yeah, so there's your new fun fact about T-Rexes. Do you feel gross now? But just remember that even though this parasite is present in modern day birds, it cannot be passed to humans, and that's all the more reason to remember to smile.